Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to share with you my first makeup declutter for spring. I'm going to be getting rid of bronzers, blushes, highlighters, and face palettes in this video. And like all my declutters, I end up donating a lot of my products to Project Beauty Share. They're an organization located in Washington. You can ship your products there, like lightly or gently used makeup products. They take them, they sanitize them, and they distribute them to various women's shelters and organizations. So all of the information about Project Beauty Share will be in my description box, their address and also their website. Definitely check it out in case you guys want to donate some gently used makeup products and you don't know what to do with it because it is used and you don't want to toss it. It's a really great organization. So check that out in my description box. And if you guys want to know what I'm going to be decluttering in this video, then just keep on watching. Alright, so I'm going to be starting out with my drawer of highlighters, bronzers, blushes, and here I also have some cream products that I think I'm gonna get rid of, and liquid products. I already think there's a couple back here that I'm gonna get rid of, so let me show those to you guys first, because whatever is a cream product, I'm gonna just have to toss because some of them are really old or they're just not hygienic to pass along or donate. So I know I don't like these. This is from The Balm. They're like liquid highlighters, but it's kind of weird because it's almost like an applicator, like a liquid eyeshadow, but it's just kind of like a dry formula. It's been sitting here for a year and I don't use it. I don't think I'm gonna start using it tomorrow. All right, KKW, I'm trashing. That sounded really harsh. I'm just trashing this one product because I do love my KKW eyeshadows, but yeah, this was just product I regret buying, waste of money, contour kit. I don't even really cream contour anymore, so I'm not really gonna keep too many cream contour products. So this came out 2 years ago. I didn't like it then, and there's no reason to keep it 2 years later. I haven't touched it in at least a year. I'm also gonna part ways with this e.l.f. contour stick as well. I just couldn't get myself to use it. It's just been sitting in my collection. The only cream contour products that I want to keep are my Hoola Quickie contour stick, which is more of like a warm contour, and then Anastasia Fawn. Those are like my two favorites out of everything that I have. I also have the Chanel Tan de Soleil that's on my vanity. I'm keeping that as well. And then this from Smashbox is like a contour and foundation stick that I just don't ever see myself using, so it's just taking up room in my collection. These are some old butter highlighters from Physicians Formula. I think I just want to keep this shade. This one is in the shade Rose Gold. I also love the shade Champagne. I have that on my vanity. I wear that all the time. But this shade in pink, I will just never ever wear. And then also this shade in Pearl. I'm never gonna wear this either. I haven't ever really worn this. I mean, I've probably worn it a little bit, but just because I have it, not because I actually like love it or anything. Do love the formula. I have a bunch of other ones that I'll show you guys in my contour palette drawer that I absolutely love, but if I don't like the shade, I'm just not gonna wear it. I'm also gonna get rid of this holographic stick from Milk Makeup. I liked it at the time. I don't dislike it, I just don't care to use it. Like, I'm pretty indifferent about it. I really like this as like a body highlighter, but I have so many more body highlighters in my collection now than I did at the time, so I'm not using this anymore. Yeah, I have other products that work more like efficiently, so I'm gonna get rid of that one. And then I'm not gonna keep this cream highlight from e.l.f. either. I just like never really used it. This is the Natural Glow Stick. I have a bunch of other cream highlighters and they go bad quickly, so I don't want to keep like a million that I'm just kind of indifferent about. I have these two dewy skin glosses from Girlactic, and I actually really like these, and I like both shades of what I have. So I'm gonna keep these now that I got rid of like some other shades that I don't like in other formulas, because I tend to wear those over the summer when I'm doing kind of more like minimal, beachy kind of makeup, just like for a glossy face look. And I think I don't want these anymore. I don't see myself ever really reaching for these. There's some glow drops from L'Oreal. I never really reach for these. There's no reason to keep them in my collection. They're also shades that I don't really gravitate towards, like a really gold shade and then like a really pink tone. So I'm gonna get rid of those as well. So I think that's everything for like the cream products. I also, oh, this is actually the Physicians Formula highlighter that I absolutely love in Champagne. It's completely broken, but I actually use it all the time. So keeping that one too. I think that's it for the cream products that I'm keeping in my collection. Let me bring back all of those products that I moved around to show you guys, because some of these I definitely am getting rid of. So all of these highlighters from Too Faced I'm getting rid of. This was part of like the Pretty Rich collection. I'm donating these because I really just like swatch them and maybe apply them like twice, but they're just like a drier formula. I have like pretty much everything else in my drawer is a better formula. So just not my favorite formula. So I'm gonna be decluttering all 3 of these. That one was the shade Canary Diamond. Then we have the shade Fancy Pink Diamond. And then lastly the shade, I think this is the original one, Diamond Fire. You guys can see they're kind of like powdery, just not my favorite formula, and they're fairly new, so I can definitely pass those along. Along with that, this is the Sun Bunny bronzer from Too Faced. This is fairly new as well. The tone just didn't really work for me. It's too like pink toned for my complexion, so definitely nothing wrong with the formula, with the quality, and it is a pretty new package as well, but the shade just didn't work out for me, so I'm going to be donating that one. I think I want to keep all of these Wet n Wild highlighters, and I'm going to declutter these highlighters. I have another one back here from L'Oreal. I actually really like this one, but I think this new one that I have from Wet n Wild is a very similar shade. So these are the L'Oreal Lumi Shimmeristas. I do like the formula, but they're kind of shades that are a little bit more bold, so I don't wear them too often. It's like a rose gold and a purpley color, so I'm gonna pass those along as well. I do like them, but I'm just trying to get rid of excess products in my collection, and I just got all of these new loose highlighters from Wet n Wild that I'm absolutely loving. I'm also gonna pass along this powder highlight in the shade Twilight from Stellar Beauty, just because I also have another highlighter from Stellar Beauty that's in a shade that I like a little bit better, so I'm gonna pass this one along too. This is also very new. I only like touched it a couple times, so I'm going to be donating that. These are the glitter drops from Cover FX. I'm going to hang on to these for now because I got them recently in a BoxyCharm, but I just haven't put them to use. I haven't found a reason to use this. I'll hang on to it for like the spring and summer, maybe to like mix into lotions or something. So getting into this pile, this is the e.l.f. highlighter in Sunset Glow. I know that I like these. And just like a disclaimer, I'm totally going to be getting rid of a lot of products that I like because I only want to keep products that I absolutely love. So this is the e.l.f. highlighter in Sunset Glow. I really like this highlighter. Nothing wrong with it. I recommend it. I love the formula, but I have so many other highlighters, obviously, and I can't use up everything. So I'm going to be passing this one along. The e.l.f. highlighter that I'm definitely keeping is the e.l.f. That Tarte highlighter. This was like such a holy grail for me for a really long time. Love both shades, really amazing formula, so I'm going to hang on to that one. I'm going to hang on to my Fenty highlighter. I'm not using it so much recently. The Kilowatt highlighter in Lightning Dust and Fire Crystal. It's like an icy highlight. I used to be really into like pinky tone icy highlights for a while, but not so much right now. But maybe for summer, I might like it a bit more. So I'm gonna hang on to that. I'm gonna hang on to my Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer just because I have a huge dent in it, and I do have it in some of my other Physicians Formula palettes. But I'll just go ahead and hang on to the single version for the time being because I'm not sure if I'm gonna keep all of my Physicians Formula palettes. This is, Luster from Makeup Geek. This was like a pink tone highlighter that I loved like 2 years ago so much. I'm gonna hang on to this as well. So this is definitely more of a pink tone, and it's a really pretty highlighter whenever I have a tan because the pink just like contrasts really nicely against my skin. So we're gonna keep the Makeup Geek highlighter, but I'm gonna get rid of this highlighter from Morphe. This is in the shade Spark. This is actually fairly new in my collection, but like I have to go out of my way to use it, so I'm not gonna hang on to it. I can definitely just pass it along. This little sample from Becca I've had in my drawer for like 6 years. Let me go ahead and toss this because it's broken. I think it's Becca Opal. Yeah, Opal from Becca. I remember I think I've had this since before I've had my channel. So really, really long time. It's probably like past due. So I'm gonna get rid of that. And then I just keep these little Mary Luminizer samples from the Balm in my collection because this was my first ever highlighter I've ever had in my life. I got it in a Birchbox in like 2013. So I'm gonna hang on to that. I also have like a newer one as well, but I just like hanging on to it for sentimental reasons. So that's gonna be everything from those two drawers or two little boxes. This is like a Birchbox from like 6 years ago. That's how I end up storing my makeup. And then in here, okay, so I think I'm gonna get rid of this Pretty Vulgar highlighter. I do like it, but like I said, I'm not obsessed with it. And I'm somebody who, I don't like to just use things that I like. If I love something, I'm gonna use it way more than something else just to like switch up my makeup. So yeah, I'm not excited about this highlighter. Like, it's pretty, but it doesn't bring me joy, I guess. So this is the shade Glow Up. It is a pretty formula, but like I said, I'm not obsessed with it. California. I feel bad always getting rid of like some high-end products that I actually do like the formula, but I never end up wearing this shade from Benefit. I love the shade Gold Rush so much more, and you guys can see this is a pretty new blush, so that just should tell you that I obviously don't wear it very often, so I'm gonna pass that one along too. This is Jouer Citrine. I love this shade, love this formula. Definitely hanging on to this. This is one of my favorite, more like lighter champagne tone highlighters. I'm also hanging on to these two highlighters. This is Ofra Blissful, one of my favorite, more like icy highlighters. And then this is my favorite gold highlighter, the Maybelline Master Chrome in the shade Molten Gold. This is a gorgeous formula. I always rave about this formula. And I've been saying for like 2 years that I need to pick up more shades. But this is just like a really buttery, creamy, blendable, super pigmented formula. Highly recommend this highlighter from Maybelline. And then this is 24 Karat Gold from e.l.f. This is a bit drier of a formula compared to my other e.l.f. highlighters, but I just got this about a month ago, so I'm definitely keeping it. I really like this shade. I just wish the formula was a little creamier, but maybe once I get a little bit more into the pan, it will be a little creamier. It doesn't look dry or anything on my face, but yeah, I just have to pack it onto my face a little bit more compared to something like my Maybelline highlighter. And then I am gonna keep Hoola from Benefit. I need to put this in an everyday makeup drawer in the future because I don't reach for it enough, but I do really like it. I'm also gonna hang on to this cream highlighter from ColourPop. This one is in this shade Stole the Show. This is pretty new in my collection. I don't really go for whitish highlighters. ColourPop sent me this in like a little package. So I do like the formula, but this isn't my favorite shade. But because it's new in my collection, I'm gonna like keep it around for a bit. And then I'm definitely keeping my Becky G highlighter in Princesa. This one's like a little icier too, but just because I'm so passionate about this collection, I'm not gonna want to get rid of it anytime soon. And then also keeping the one in Chisme, which I absolutely love. Like, that's one of my favorite highlighters. And then back here, don't know if I think I should go ahead and keep this from Dose Colors. I don't know. I get really passionate about makeup that's in Spanish. So I will fully admit that yes, I do like this highlighter formula, but the only hesitation I have about getting rid of it is just because I love the name of it. I do like this shade a lot. I just haven't worn it in a while, and I have a lot of other similar shades in my collection. So let's keep this for now, and then if I do another declutter in the summer and I haven't like touched this since then, I will probably end up decluttering it. And it's also like a shade that I tend to wear more in the summer, like more of that like goldish highlight. So I'm gonna hang on to this because I think that's the only product that I didn't mention from like this little pile back here. And that just looks way more organized already. I still need to find like a better system for everything, but slowly this is getting better. Okay, over here we have, this is new from Wet n Wild. I just showed you guys in a recent Wet n Wild video about a month ago. I like this formula, I like this shade, but I'm obsessed with Hummingbird Hype from Wet n Wild. and I'm not as excited about this one, and it's still like very new. So I'm gonna go ahead and pass this one along as well. This is a little contour, little bronzer I got maybe in an Ipsy like 2 months ago, and I haven't touched it. So I'm gonna pass that along. I even remember not being excited about it because it was like too warm. I think I'm gonna have to toss this because I can't donate anything that's cream. And I almost wish that I didn't open this because I was so curious about it, and I actually thought that I would maybe like this product, but I told you guys in the Rebel Rose collection video, like I really did not like this. I feel like it looks like cherry chapstick on my face when I apply it. It turns from like black to, I don't know, like a weird color. So I'm gonna be decluttering this blush. I was not a fan of the formula, not a fan of the color. Next up, this is one of the new Wet n Wild bronzers in Palm Beach Ready. I don't think I need to keep this. I like the shade Sunset Striptease a lot, and I don't think that I really need to keep this one in my collection because I don't like this shade as much. So I do like the formula of them, but the shade that I have that I'm using, I like so much better than this shade. So I'm going to be passing that along because it's still very new as well. And then this is a baked blush from Laura Geller. I'm going to be donating this. This is still super new. I probably used it like twice. I think I got it in a BoxyCharm a couple months ago. This is in the shade Tropic Hues. And like, I just don't love the shade. And I like everything else better in my collection. I love Benefit Rocket Shore. It's one of my favorite blushes for winter. It's like one of those blushes that have a little bit of like a bronzy hint to it. It's also like kind of purple and mauve-y. Really like that. I don't really wear this one from Too Faced anymore. The Love Flush blush in Baby Love, but this is like a product that I'm like very attached to. I think I bought this the day I got engaged or the day before. I know that the first time I wore it was when I got engaged. So I'm keeping it. It's also a very old product, so I couldn't donate it anyways. I do like my Physicians Formula blush. This is a newer one in my collection. This is in the shade Natural Glow. It's like the lighter shade from Physicians Formula. It's very fair, very faint. It almost looks like a peachy highlighting powder on my face, so it's really pretty for summer. Next I have this little highlighter I got from, I think in an Ipsy bag, from IBY Beauty, and this is actually a really nice formula. I really like this highlighter. This is in the shade Radiant Glow. I haven't really tried anything else from this brand, but I like it, so I'm gonna keep this. This is also something I got in my Ipsy last month. I haven't really put it to the test, but it is actually like a really pretty formula. It's like a really icy highlighter as well. A little bit of a pink tone. So I'm gonna hang on to that. I'm also gonna hang on to this blush from Bare Minerals. It's one of their Gen Nude blushes. This one is in the shade Call My Blush. I'm also gonna hang on to this blush from Collab Beauty. This one's in the shade Sweet Surprise. I just like blushes in this tone. More of like a bronzy, orangey blush. Kind of like my Toasted Cinnamon from Burt's Bees, which I have on my vanity as well. That's one of my favorite blushes. And then this one from Pixie, I am not gonna keep. This is in the shade Beach Rose. I couldn't even tell you when I use this blush. I don't think I've really used it very much, so I'm gonna pass that along as well. And then this blush from PYT Beauty isn't really my favorite. I just don't like the color that much. It's like a little too pink for me, so I'm gonna pass this along as well. It is still pretty new. So that's gonna be everything in all of my drawers. So here everything is a little bit more organized. I have highlighters, more highlighters and bronzers, my loose highlighters, liquid and cream products, and then all of my blushes. So I've definitely decluttered about like half of this drawer, which is pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and move into my contour, highlighter, and blush palettes. All right, so here we have all of my face palettes, and I don't think I'm gonna get rid of too many. But there's some that I definitely know I want to get rid of. And let's see, first of all, I don't ever use this Wander Beauty palette. I got it in a BoxyCharm a couple months ago, I believe. And I just don't like the layout of this palette because you have to like squeeze your brush in there. So I'd rather just pass this along because I know I'm not going to get a lot of use out of it while it's still like pretty new. And then Something I am liking so far. This is the new Cover FX palette that I just got in BoxyCharm this month. And this palette has some really gorgeous, really pigmented highlighters in it. So I'm excited to definitely keep this palette from Cover FX in my collection. With that being said, that makes me feel like I can definitely get rid of this palette, because once you guys see it, you'll know why I'm getting rid of it. So this is my highlighter palette from Cover FX. They sent it to me and it came out broken, and I just kind of pressed it back together. But it's definitely just like a mess in my collection and kind of just like a hassle. So I'm gonna end up just tossing this one because it's completely shattered. But really like the Cover FX formula. If it wasn't broken, I wouldn't throw it away, but it's completely broken. And then I have this like brand new palette from Cover FX that I could use instead. My Tarte Park Avenue Princess palette, like I had to force myself to use this because I just really don't like the shades in here very much. And like it's definitely not my favorite formula either. So I'm gonna go ahead and pass this one along. It's a really bulky palette too. I just don't end up using it at all. I really like this palette from Lancome. This was like limited edition during the holidays. Has a beautiful highlighter. The highlighter in here is super pigmented, and I couldn't find this palette on its own, but I'm definitely hanging on to that. And then I'm definitely keeping this Kevyn Aucoin palette. You guys know I'm obsessed with that contour shade in this palette. I use the medium one a little bit too, but the Sculpting Light shade, one of my holy grail products in my collection. It's my favorite part of the palette, obviously. I think I'm going to hang on to all my Kevyn Aucoin palettes because I've used them so much. Like this one looks like really gross because it's covered in like lash glue that I cannot get off. Like I'll scrub it and I can't get it off. But this contour in this palette too, I absolutely love. I hate how the powders get stuck in the cream and it looks like all gross, but absolutely love this contour shade for sure. I just love the Kevyn Aucoin formula. This is the Hourglass Holiday palette from 2017, and I really never use it, but I paid too much money for it, so I'm gonna keep it and use it as much as I can, and then I'm gonna give it to my mom when she comes to visit in a couple months, because I think she'll get a lot more use out of it than I do. I'm gonna hang on to this e.l.f. palette. Let's see, what else do I want to get rid of? I'll get rid of this e.l.f. palette. This is an illuminating palette. So this is a 4-pan highlighter palette from e.l.f. I like the formula, I just don't reach for it, so I'm going to be passing this one along too. And this is the Rose Gold Blush Duo from Jouer. I don't need to keep this one. I'm not reaching for it, and I just have the Jouer new blush palette that I'm going to be using a lot more than this anyway, so I'm going to pass this one along. And then I definitely want to hang on to my Charlotte Tilbury Film Star Bronze and Glow. You guys can tell like I use that quite a bit. Really like this formula for sure. I'm actually gonna declutter this, and you guys might be surprised. And it looks pretty new too because I really didn't end up using it too much. It's also very bulky, like it's heavy. Okay, so this is the Too Faced Natural Face palette. I couldn't really get myself to use this palette too much, and I like the formula. There's nothing wrong with the formula. It's just the shades didn't really make a lot of sense to me. Like I would really just wear this blush. I don't like the pink. The bronzer's a little light. This blush is like really deep, and then the highlighters are not like very creamy. They're a little bit drier. So really this one blush was like the only thing that I loved in the palette, and then everything else I barely ever used. So I'm gonna be passing that one along as well. I feel a little bit bad because it's like such a pretty palette, but it's just like very bulky in my collection. And then I really don't want to hang on to both of these Physician Formula palettes because they're so big. I really like all the shades in the Casey Home ones, but unfortunately this is the bigger one. Like this takes up half of my drawer. Like that is huge. It looks like it's just so big. But I really like everything in here. Like I really like the highlighter shade, the blush shade, the eyeshadows, the bronzer, everything in here is great. It's just the packaging is so huge. And then when it comes to this palette, packaging is huge. And then I do like the highlighters in here. So I think I'm gonna get rid of this. I wish there's like a way to store, especially this highlighter, because I think it's pretty for summer, like a little bit more of like a purpley look. Let me know if you guys can think of a way that I could just store this highlighter separately and like I just don't know how because it'll dry out if it's not covered up. I'm gonna take this out of my drawer for now. Let me know if you guys have any suggestions about like taking these out and maybe putting them in a separate palette or something. I also have the deeper version of the Film Star Bronzing Gold from Charlotte Tilbury. I definitely need to use this more because this bronzer is super pretty, but I don't really use it enough because I think it just gets buried in my collection. I love this contour little book from Kevyn Aucoin. I tend to gravitate towards my bigger contour palettes from Kevyn Aucoin, but this is just like a perfect travel palette. Love the contour shade in here as well. Kevyn Aucoin has like my favorite contour powders. Then this is a bronzer palette from Jouer. I actually really like this. I totally forget that I have this in my collection because it's buried on top of all these giant Physician Formula palettes. So I need to put this in an everyday makeup drawer really soon because this is actually a really gorgeous formula. This is the medium to deep palette. And I hate that. I hate when like I lose track of my products because there's too much stuff in the way, too much clutter. I'm gonna move this out of the way for now so we can see what else is in here. I think I'm gonna hang on to this from Tarte because I still feel like there's enough product in here for me to not like trash it, and it's just too a complete mess for me to ever donate, especially because it also has cream products. So I'm gonna hang on to it and probably put it in an everyday makeup drawer for a while, like next month, and keep it for like a few months and then maybe toss it at the end of the summer because this is a pretty old palette and I've used quite a bit of it as well. I'm a little bit on the fence about this blush palette from Kiko Cosmetics. I haven't used it in a really long time, but I also think it's just been buried under a bunch of stuff for a really long time. So I'm gonna hang on to it for now because I did love it for a while. And then this is a blush and bronzer duo in St. Lucia from e.l.f. I actually really like this palette. You guys can see I've used quite a bit of it. This is like one of my favorite from the drugstore. I'm definitely not getting rid of too many palettes because I did just do a palette declutter a couple months ago. I am gonna hang on to the Innuendo palette from ColourPop. It's a really pretty palette, really pretty formula. I feel like this is the lookalike to the Anastasia Beverly Hills and Nicole Guerrero palette, and I ended up decluttering that palette. I think I gave it to my cousin because I didn't like the formula too much, but this one is definitely a lot better. I keep this palette in here for sentimental reasons. This was like my first ever face palette. It's like 5 or 6 years old, so I never use it. I just keep it because it reminds me of like when I was 22. So this is like one of those like just random things that has like a lot of memories associated with it. Next up we have the Anastasia Sweets Glow Kit. This doesn't exist anymore, but that's okay. I'm gonna end up decluttering this. I'm gonna pass this one along as well just because I don't use it. I don't have any like emotional attachment to it. It was like my first ever glow kit and the only one in my collection, but that's okay. I can't get rid of my Anastasia contour kit because it's another one that I have like really gets me in my feels about when I bought this palette and like that year of my life for some reason. So dude, these palettes make me like really emotional. So I'm gonna keep those two that I rarely use. I do actually use my Anastasia palette, but this Tarte one I don't ever use. Another one, the Jaclyn Hill palette. This one gets me in my feelings too. Like this was like prime makeup time. Like when this palette came out, I felt like that was the peak of like the beauty community and beauty YouTube and everything. So I'm not getting rid of this. It makes me happy. I don't ever use it, but it makes me happy. So back here, this is like the emotional corner of stuff. I think that's like the only other product that gets me like, brings me back to like a certain time of my life. And then this is my Cheekathon palette from Benefit. I actually really like this. I don't reach for it too much anymore, but I need to. And I've used a ton of this palette, so it's like too old and used up to donate. This is Dallas. Is like one of my favorite blushes of all time. So I'm definitely hanging on to this. Really awesome palette. And it gives me like all of my favorite blushes from Benefit. I definitely cleared up a good amount of space in this drawer. I'll reorganize this so I have like all of these little palettes in one area, all of the face, all of the blush and everything like that in different areas. That way I can see things better and things don't just get lost in my collection. So that's definitely the goal with like decluttering for me, is just to be able to like actually see and use everything that I love. So that's everything for this drawer. I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys everything that I ended up getting rid of in this declutter. Alright guys, so here is everything that I ended up decluttering. It's definitely a lot of products, which makes me really happy because I only want things that I am really loving or new products I'm testing in my collection at all times. And even though there's a lot of products here that I have absolutely nothing negative to say about, it comes to a point where if you have a lot of things that you like, you never end up finding what you love or using what you love, you know what I mean? So I just didn't want to have like excess clutter, and that way I could actually use up the products that I love and not have like a lot of halfway used products in my collection. So that's kind of the whole point of this declutter, because I'm looking at a lot of products where like, I know the Pretty Vulgar highlighter is really good. I like those L'Oreal highlighters, but I'm not gonna miss them in my collection, so it's no big deal. And then especially when I'm donating products, I have no worries about it because I know somebody else is gonna get use out of them. So over here are all of the products that I'm going to be donating. And then this is kind of like limbo, my Physicians Formula Butter Collection palette, because I actually don't want to get rid of this. I just want to get rid of the packaging. So what I'm gonna do is either I'm gonna pass this along to a friend, or I'm going to just try to depan this one highlighter because I actually really like this highlighter and I don't want to get rid of it. I don't mind getting rid of the other products because I actually have them separately in my collection, but this one I really like and I don't want to get rid of. So that's why this one's out here. And then I also decided that I'm gonna pass along the Too Faced Natural Face Palette and the Tarte Park Avenue Princess palette. I'm gonna give those to a friend as well, because especially this Too Faced palette, if I ship it for donation, I don't see it making there in one piece, because when I ordered this palette, I had to order it twice because the first one broke when it shipped to me. So I'm worried about shipping like bulky palettes like that are easy to break. So I'm gonna pass those along to somebody in person. And then over here I have the cream products and products that are broken in my collection and just too old to donate. They're not hygienic to donate and I just need to toss them. So that is this little pile. But that's gonna be everything for this declutter. I will leave all the information about Project Beauty Share in my description box in case you guys are curious about donating makeup products. And yeah, that's gonna be everything for today's video. If you guys liked it, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I'll talk to you guys soon in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.